or a large share. In fact, that's disastrous for the economy. So I think it's a case that we can make that we need a more equitable income distribution in order to have sustainable long-term economic growth. That runs counter to literally everything many of the economists and certainly the IMF and World Bank and people like that were saying. But they are no longer saying the same things they said 3-4 years ago. They have been sufficiently honest in seeing the world that they believed in is gone and are looking, I think, to help in changing it. But what we need will be, I think, some group or some groups of people to actually go through this open door that's been presented for changing the nature of our economy. In the U.S. today, the big banks, there are 2 big banks left, Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase. They just announced huge sums of profits that they made because they're basically monopolies at this point. They have no competition. And they have a lot of bailout money from the federal government that they use to right their ship. And who knows what else they did. They're going to be giving giant bonuses to their people just the way they did before this disaster. But it's precisely those huge bonuses, the huge amounts of money that the banking and financial sector gave to people to take excessive risks and to try to fool us with high credit card charges that people that were not aware of and so on, that really has got us into the problem that we are. And they're going to try to maintain their privileges and their status. And I think we need an aggressive campaign against them, aggressive campaign to rein them in. When I was a student in economics, I was told the Great Depression will never occur again. I was told, don't worry about income distribution because most of the money goes to the middle class. And if you take something, it's a few rich people at the top. Well, nowadays we have a very different world than that. And one of the reasons I think we are in a different world than we were 40-odd years ago is that, in fact, today the system isn't really competitive. It's just like these 2 big banks. We have a form of crony capitalism where a small group of people and their friends, they're on boards of directors, they're running companies, and they're taking care of themselves, and they're not taking care of the rest of them. There is only one group, in my opinion, that can really step through and take a big leadership role in changing the capitalist system to become a better and fairer capitalist system. And that is the trade unions. The American trade unions, unfortunately, are very divided. As you undoubtedly know, we have 2 trade union centers. One of the centers seems to be coming to pieces as I speak. The unions are fighting. That's the Change to Win group. And we may or may not see a unified labor movement come this fall. But once the unions are fighting among themselves, it's hard for them to take a leadership role. So I wouldn't look to the American unions to be taking a big step here. And the Australian unions, I know your membership is modest, but you are in a better position, and the economy is not so bad off in Australia, which can be very helpful, to indeed think through better ways to have this capitalist system operate. You have done a great job, I think, with the superannuation schemes, not investing money through Macquarie or some of these funds that take most of the money for themselves, the way almost all of the finance community has done. So I think this is an extraordinary time that you're meeting, and I just hope you be bold and you be aggressive. Governments will listen to the financiers. They'll listen to the conservative business groups who will be there every day talking to them, and they're doing that with the Obama administration here, and they're talking, I'm sure, in a similar way to Kevin Rudd in Australia. And it's up to the unions, potentially in alliance with green groups and with other groups, to, in fact, oppose the status quo things, oppose the belief that we can just recover from this recession and go back to the same old way we were operating. I think we can't, and it's better that we act as quickly as we can before we end up with another economic disaster caused by big financiers risking large sums of money, our money, and our jobs. So I thank you for hearing me, and good luck at your meeting. Bye-bye.